Giving you the real from A to Z surrounding the Dallas Cowboys. News, updates, rumors, transactions, takes, and more. So strap up, Cowboys Nation, and start your day off with A to Z Sports. Live with Will Steele.
3, 2, 1.
Here we go. Friday. Good morning. Good people. Welcome to A to Z Sports Live. We stream it live on YouTube on this beautiful Friday. And of course, I am your host, Will Skywalker Steele. Boom! You know, I didn't know we would have a little bit of surprising news to talk about today, but we do. We'll get into the surprising cut from yesterday's waiver news wire, whatever you want to call it. But it is Fan Friday, and we are bringing back our key matchups. I got 3 of them. 3 key matchups to get into to get this victory for the Cowboys against the Patriots so Dallas can get back on track. That'll be after we discuss the surprising cut. Also, in the roundup, we got some good news, okay? So we got some good news, better news from Thursday. That's probably the best Thursday injury report we've received since last year. Let's just be honest, right? Since last year. So we'll talk about that in the roundup as well and get into everything Dallas Cowboys on this beautiful Friday. Hey, look, I'm not sure how long it's going to be, but that'll be up to you guys because we'll get what I want to do. I want to talk about the injury report, get into this Devin Harper cut, and I got these 3 keys, and then I just want to rap to y'all about that. We'll probably talk to you guys about the Devin Harper situation first, though. I mean, that was surprising, and I'll tell you why, not just for the obvious reasons, but for others as well. But before we get into any of that, 351-909-3787 is the call-in line if you want to wait in line. But what's good, Bomb Squad?
Bomb Squad!
What's good with y'all, man? Hope y'all Friday is good. If you got paid, spend your money wisely, pay those bills. If you didn't and you're at work anyway trying to get paid, I appreciate you listening in. You could be doing anything, but you're here with me this morning on this Friday. Got my energy back up. Not a great night of sleep, but we here anyway. And we're going to talk about these boys. All right, we're going to talk about these boys. So let's go ahead and get right into it because there's a lot I want to say. But I want to make sure I'm not just throwing up on the show. I want to give you guys an opportunity to speak on this situation as well.
It's time! It's time! It's time! It's time!
Time.
It's time! It is time for...
It's time for the morning roundup. Round 'em up, boys.
Let me talk to you!
Start off with the good news. Good news. Thursdays have not been fun for Cowboys Nation, for Cowboys fans, Cowboys players and coaches, right? A lot of bad injuries have happened on this Thursday. But this time we get some good news reported. Tyler Biadasz upgraded to limited. Zach Martin upgraded to limited. Both of these gentlemen have not practiced since last Thursday up until yesterday. So we could, again, potentially get a chance to see most of the starting offensive line. Not quite sure what we're going to do with Tyron Smith. He did not practice, and Chuma Edoga was limited. Tony Pollard also was limited, but it was a rest. Given his workload to start the season, they wanted to make sure they monitored how much he was going to be practicing. My bad, that got loud. How much they were going to be practicing this week, because Tony Pollard actually leads the league in touches. But the Tyron Smith, I don't even know what to make of it, y'all. Like, part of me is like, okay, look, this dude is a hurt guy. I know, this is obvious, right? He's a hurt guy. He's also a veteran. We talked about Romo Wednesdays. How often does he really need to practice? Probably not a lot, but he has to practice at some point. And if it came down to a game time decision, on Sunday, then why isn't he practicing right now? That's the pessimistic part of me. The optimistic part of me is, hey, well, maybe we'll get to Sunday and they say we don't need Tyron to practice and he'll play. Bottom line, though, is that code 77 we talk about on Vacha's show is here now. It's alive and it's well. But what do you do about it? Because let me say this right now. Part of me wants to see Zach Martin, Tyler Smith at guard, and let's go, right? That Zach Martin, Tyler Smith, Tyler Biadasz interior is fantastic. That's fun. That's some movement right there. But Chuma Edoga at left tackle scared the hell out of me. I don't like it. I don't like it at all. And last week, you might have been able to get away with that after the first, few series, because he wasn't getting away with it in the first few series. But he started to settle in a bit. But you weren't going up against a guy like Matt Judon. You weren't going up against a defensive coordinator like Bill Belichick. He's going to take advantage of a Chuma Edoga on that left side. So McCarthy's been a bit tight-lipped here. He hasn't really said, if Tyron doesn't play, will we see Tyler at left tackle? I'm here to tell you right now, yes, that's what we need to do. Look, man, you don't want to give Bill Belichick any more edge than he already has. And if you're going to roll Chuma Edoga out there, that is a massive advantage, Patriots. I do not want to roll Chuma out there against that line. Now, if he does, obviously I'm going to be rooting like hell for him to hold it together and get us through this game until Tyron gets back. But what I think, me personally, just my opinion here, what we need to start doing is planning for Code 77 to happen periodically throughout the season. So that's Tyler to me, or Austin Richards, whomever, but anybody but Chuma. Because you walked into an Arizona team that didn't have a dude at rusher. Matt Judon's a dude. And we'll get into him a little bit later. And I don't like that matchup. So as much as I want to see Tyler Smith and Zach Martin at guard this season, with Code 77, I think that needs to be put on the shelf. We can talk about that too when we get out this roundup a little bit more. But this is kind of the news of the day yesterday that sent shockwaves through Cowboys Nation. And this is why Cowboys Nation is a nation. It's not even, it's international, whatever you want to call it. How many teams can cut their special team guy, their third linebacker, and it reverberate like it did in Cowboys Nation? And it should have, to be honest. So if you were living under a rock, Cowboys elected to waive Devin Harper. Devin Harper hasn't played a whole bunch of snaps on defense, only 4, but he did get a stop in one of those snaps. He's been primarily a special teams guy. 48 snaps on special teams. He had that key holding penalty last week that negated that Kevontae Turpin return. He had a really good return, and Devin Harper had a holding on it and didn't need to. So as it stands right now, Malik Jefferson is on the practice squad. He got injured in preseason, not really sure where he's at with his health, but if he's fine, he could potentially be called up. Not even potentially, he should be called up. And that could be a situation there. Now, when this went down, initially it was shock. And then it was like, okay, so what is technically the plan here? What do we think we're trying to do here? And I went to Twitter, and this was kind of my thought about it. I said, if Harper clears waivers, I wonder if he's brought back to the practice squad. I'd imagine they're going to sign Hoffman, that's the center, to the 53. So Brock Hoffman, who I think played well enough, right, last week, and possibly has earned trust to the coaching staff to be the backup center. He got called up for the 3rd time in a row, and now he's out of call-ups. If he is going to be on the 46 active roster during game day, he has to be signed to the 53-man roster, right? So that is going to essentially open up an extra practice squad spot. But Scott, they signed Billy Price. Yes, but there was already a practice squad spot open. So now essentially there was one practice spot open. Price filled it. Hoffman, if he gets called up, there will be another practice squad spot open. And I find it hard to believe that if he clears waivers, they don't bring him back. For a number of different reasons, right? Look, if they wanted to sign a linebacker, they would have signed a linebacker, right? Put him on practice squad. But they didn't do that. Instead, we got about 4 centers on this damn team now, which is crazy to me. But we got about 4 centers on this team. 2 of them were on practice squad. Harlow, Billy Price, and Hoffman and Biotis were the 4 centers. But if they wanted to sign a linebacker, I feel like they would have signed one and put him on the practice squad. I think they looked at the roster and said, where can we skim the roster? Where can we skim the roster to get Hoffman up here as a full-time 53 guy? And for whatever reason, these guys elected to go to the position that don't need any more skimming. This is your linebacker room. I don't think I've ever seen anything like this. This is your linebacker room on your 53-man roster. Leighton Vander Esch, Damone Clark, and that's it. I get it's the new age, right? In the NFL, a lot of speed. Guys are smaller. You want to try to bring down safeties and whatnot. I'm not counting Marquise Bell as a true linebacker. These are your true off-ball linebackers. Marquise Bell has been thrust into this role because you lost to Marvion Overshown. I don't recall another team to roll with 2 linebackers on a 53-man roster. I just don't. Michael Parsons ain't no linebacker. Michael Parsons is a rusher. That's what he's going to do. He's not going to play off-ball linebacker for you much here. So I just think, and y'all let me know what y'all think about this. I do think if he clears waivers, that they will bring him back on the practice squad. And I don't know the rules on this one when it comes to this type of situation. But if he does clear and he's brought back to practice squad, does he fall underneath the same set of rules as other practice squad guys where you can call him up now 3 times? Because if that's the case, right, you get Harper back and now you just call him up 3 games in a row. And by the 3rd game, you figure it out. Whatever is going on, you figure it out, whether he has to be signed back to the 53. If he wants to come here, by the way. You know, Harper could just be like, no. But I'd imagine they went to Harper in the same way they went to Ridgeway and said, look, man, we got to do this for roster gymnastics. If you clear waivers, we're bringing you back to the practice squad. We'll get you back on this roster. And maybe Harper said, cool, fine, whatever. But if he gets claimed, he gets claimed. You have no control over that. None. And it's so crazy that it happened to be Harper because we were just talking about this. Shouts out to Okoye. He put the film to our conversation from Wednesday when we were talking about the LVE, Damone Clark linebacker room situation. We brought up Devin Harper because there's a different mentality in how he plays. It just was about, I think I said to him, can his mental aspect of his game catch up to the physical? Because the physical is there, right? He's a downhill guy. He ain't no guy that's going to see it, play patty cake, and then attempt to get there. He's shooting the gap. He's flying. Sometimes, though, that can be a negative because he's over pursuing or he's not shooting the right gap. But when he does, he hits. And this is obviously preseason camp or whatnot. We haven't really seen Devin Harper get a lot of opportunity in the regular season. So I was calling for an opportunity in the regular season to see what we can do. But he's no longer here. And again, like I said, this is your linebacker room. You know, Rashaan Evans has been signed. He's no longer out there. You know, we can look into the free agent market. But again, I just feel like if they were going to sign a free agent, they would have did that. Now, if Harper gets claimed or if McClay and those guys say, yeah, we're not really big fans of him after 1 season and a half, if that, 1 1/4, 2 and a possible, then it would seem to not make sense given that they were high on him in the draft. When I say high on him, I mean, he was drafted in the 6th round. I get it, but they could have easily said, we'll just get him in a, free agency. Instead, they decided to spend a draft pick, and we know Dallas does not look at draft picks as just throwaways. They keep all these guys. So it's your linebacker room, Cowboys Nation. What are your thoughts here? It's perplexing. I'm just not gonna lie to you. I don't think anybody really down there that I spoke with had an idea that this was coming, or if they knew this might have been coming down a pike, they were kind of like, I mean, this is what they're electing to do, but 2 linebackers. That's where we at. Malik Jefferson, I get it. He's the 3rd guy on the practice squad, but even still, we came into this season and we talked about this here saying, hey, 3 linebackers is light, especially when DeMarvion Overshown got injured. So now what happens if you get another injury? What happens if play is not up to par? You don't have a guy to come in to step up. You don't got a guy to take snaps. Harper, we thought, could be that guy, and if it failed, it failed. But here's my thing about any player, really. If there seems to be a possibility that you can get better play, or you can get just as good of play with the possibility of splash plays on top of it, if that player exists on your team, I'm all for giving them a chance to fail. Not saying that this guy is going to be great, whether it be Harper or whomever, right? But give them the chance to fail. Because if they aren't better, then cool, all right, come have a seat. You'll be our depth guy. We'll go back to our guy. If they are, now you got a young guy or whoever it may be, it could be a veteran, who has elevated that aspect of your team with another player who has experience, he's depth. Cowboys don't got either at the position right now. Very young group. LVE is the longest tenured guy, obviously. He's not young, but Malik Jefferson been around, but he ain't played a whole lot. Damone Clark, this is his 2nd year. He only played 8 games last year or whatever it was. So, or maybe 10 games last year. And now 2-3 games now. So still young group. So just a bit, it's a shocker to me. I ain't gonna lie. I know across the league, people might be looking at our show or might be looking at the Cowboys are doing and saying, why y'all tripping about Devin Harper? We're not tripping about Devin Harper. We're tripping about the room. Man. But look, if y'all want to go check out Okoye's, he added film to it. Make sure y'all go do that to our conversation from the other day. And it shows you the potential of Devin Harper and what we believe is of LVE. Now, let me tell you how funny. Let me tell you how funny Cowboys Nation is. Hey, y'all, I found out today that me, Sky, is an LVE lover. Boy, the internet's funny, man. The internet is funny. There's a lot of day ones in here. There's a lot of day twos in here. Appreciate y'all. There's also a lot of people who are new. So you might have popped up in here into the show, say week 12 or something, week 13, maybe even the playoffs, where I'm like, hey, this is exactly what I was looking for from LVE, right? But there's no way you were here from weeks 1 through 6. You were here in 2021 and 2020 when we got Dan Quinn. Ain't no way, dog. Because there's no way you would call me an LVE lover. I've been quite literally trying to replace this man. Even after solid performances in the playoffs, I said, I think there's a potential to be better here. And one of the main things I said about him in the offseason was this. If you're going to re-sign LVE, you better bring back Hankins and you better load up the interior. Because this is not a guy that if he's not kept clean, he can sift through the trash and make plays on a consistent basis. He needs to be kept clean. So they signed Hankins, they got Mozzie, and they said, okay, let's keep these linebackers clean because he's not that type. He's not Sean. Sean didn't require Hankins, right? But yeah, man, it's just social media has definitely, I think, changed fandom. I think you have to either be on one side or the other at all times. And I'm not the type. I talked about this before. I can give a damn about receipts. I don't care about where I was right, where I was wrong. Half the time I want to be wrong. That's not what I come on here and do. And I'll get off my soliloquy here in a second. I talk about what is, right? And if the data changes, whether that's good or bad, we'll continue to talk about what is. But I take what is and try to project it. I'm not on here to make videos about being right or wrong. That's just not what I care about. I'm trying to talk about what's happening with the team and where we can move forward and hopefully be better from it, whether it be good or bad. So, LVE lover, sir, you better go and get. I'll leave it at that. This is true, AJ. Fantasy football has changed a lot of fans' minds. I think fantasy is also a part of it, but social media, I think, is a major part of it too. Like, fandom is totally different before. There's some good things to it, but there's a whole lot of just mess. A whole lot of mess with it that you really can't. It's a different way you got a fan now, and it's crazy to me. But it is what it is. I'm gonna get off my high horse here. Professor O says Skywalker, host of A to LVE. Hey, that was good. That was good. All right, look, y'all ready to get into the matchups? I'm gonna get off of that. Let's get into these matchups. Let's start off with. Now, I don't have these ranked. These are just 3, right? I just got 3. Just got 3 matchups here. If y'all have some at the end of this, y'all can play along as well. And y'all can give me y'all thoughts on said matchup. But here we go. Key matchup number 1. Terence Steele versus Matt Judon. Now, Judon is one of those premier pass rushers in the league that doesn't get a lot of attention by the media. You get a lot of attention by offensive coordinators and by quarterbacks and by tackles. But he has picked up where he left off in 2022. He had 15.5 sacks last year, y'all. 12.5 sacks the year before. Again, this guy just doesn't get a lot of fanfare in the media. Again, he's in New England. And he's not, this isn't TJ Watt, it's not Micah, but this guy is as impactful game in, game out. He may not have a whole bunch of splash plays, but if you do not pay attention to Matt Judon, he will make you pay. He already has 4 sacks this year and 13 pressures. He's got 2 games where he's had over 5 or more pressures already. Okay. Still, he last week got back to his game. Cuzzo got back to being Cuzzo a little bit, right? But one thing that is not a good trend here for Terence Steele this year are penalties. He's got a penalty in each game. Technically, he was flagged for 2 penalties last week, but the one on false start, the entire line false started. The center didn't, new center, things like that. But Terence is racking up the penalties. Each game he has at least 1. All right. That has to change. Now, I remember last year in week 1, he had 4. And then he finished the season only having 2 more penalties the rest of the way. So we know that Terence is in his wheelhouse that he can become more disciplined, but he needs to start that on Sunday because you don't want to put yourself in 2nd and long, 3rd and long situations. Now, these guys got history, right? 2021, if you remember the victory over the Patriots, Cowboys in Foxborough, got that monkey off their back. They hadn't beat New England up there since like 96 or something crazy. They hadn't beat Bill Belichick ever. And they got that monkey off their back. In 2021, Judon, he caused some havoc a little bit. Had 6 pressures that day, but he didn't get a sack. But those 6 pressures were the 3rd most pressures on that season for Matt Judon. And if you guys remember, Tyron started that game, I believe. Let me try to remember. I believe he started that game, but he didn't finish it. So they put in Ty Nsekhe. And Judon was kind of all over the place. They took advantage of Judon's aggressiveness, too. I remember on the game-winning play, the game-winning drive, actually. You can look it up on YouTube. They used his aggression against him, and they were able to get that over route to CeeDee Lamb for the game winner. In that game, Terence played pretty well. He only allowed 1 hurry, no sacks. Him and Judon battled, and that was 2021 Terence, where it was coming off 2020, but he was stacking good games and becoming the Terence Steele that we know now. Year 4 Terence versus Matt Judon is going to be fun, and it's going to be a matchup the Cowboys have to win. Now, here's the thing, though. As I'm talking about this matchup and thinking about the matchup, if Chuma Edoga ends up playing left tackle, you can bet that Judon will probably play roughly 60-70% of snaps on that. I mean, I would do that. Why would I run him up against Terence all day, where Terence is him and Terence are going to battle? Terence is going to win a lot of those too. Chuma, different story. So that is something to watch. This thing could flip. It could end up being Chuma versus Junon, and that will be your key matchup. But as of right now, hopefully no code 77, fingers crossed. Tyron Smith hopefully will be available, and then you'll likely have Terence versus Matt Judon. So that is my first key matchup in this game. Obviously, you always want to make sure you nerf the opposing team's best pass rusher, but I think we got lucky last week. Let's just be honest. We ran into a team that didn't have a whole lot of pass rushers like that. And after the first weird wave of, I think it was about the first 2 or 3 possessions, likely 2 possessions, where pressure was crazy, you got the sack and whatnot, it settled down because they don't got dudes. Not only does New England have a dude in Matt Judon, but they got really good. Their role players are way better, than Arizona. Their scheme is way better. Their defensive coordinator is way better. Their back end is way better. This is a better defense. But it starts with Judon and that front being disciplined up there and Bill Belichick kind of scheming away what you do best. And it's not always about just pass rushing either. Like, Terence is going to have to win in the run game too. And that's where he got back to being Terence last week a bit. But he's going to have to win in the run game against Matt Judon. So that's number 1. I'll look over here. And where'd you go? Somebody said, okay, James said, I'm getting tired of depending on Tyron. Well, James, that's the thing that we talked about in the offseason. And I'm not trying to cry over spilled milk, but this is why you always had to have a backup plan. You had to have a certified, legitimate backup plan because odds are very high that code 77 was going to happen. All right. And here we go. We could be in for code 77 game number 2. So we'll see. Caller just popped in before I get to number 2. It's a strange looking name on the caller ID. Let me see something real quick before I bring him in. 804, what's up? 804, you listen to me on your TV? Oh boy. Yeah, I got you, 804, but you got me on delay here. What's good? Who this?
Ty.
Oh, here we go.
Yeah,
Ty calling in. Hey, we got, okay, so for those who don't know who Ty is the Cowboy fan that hates his team. So we told Ty last week. I'm messing with you.
You the reason the chat hate me, bro.
Yeah, they hate you, Ty. So look, we told Ty last week, we want to give you a chance to call up in here because he's one of the more, and let me know if I'm saying this wrong, but more pessimistic fans for the Cowboys, right?
Nah, I'm tired of losing.
I mean, everybody tired of losing. Only one team technically wins throughout the year, but the energy that I feel from the chat is you're a bit pessimistic about the team week in, week out, year in, year out, which again, if it's because of the drought, I completely understand. But I wonder, and I said this to some other people like this, I wonder, has this drought just completely drained you of any hope or optimism or just genuine fandom week in, week out, bro?
Nah, I think it's more so we either good on offense or we good on defense.
So we got peanut butter, no jelly, cereal, no milk.
You know what I mean? Like why Tyron Smith and Zach Martin still our best linemen?
I mean, I don't disagree with I don't technically disagree with that. I think this year was the year we thought maybe it would pair itself up a little better. And honestly, through the first 2 weeks, you saw that, I think. But last week was a bad week,
I think it showed a lot. I don't got Stephen Gilmore covering the best wide receivers. I think he gonna get, he might get some interceptions, but I think he's gonna give up a lot of yards. As far as covering number ones, as covering number twos, I thought it was a great move. But
sure,
now he got to take Diggs' role. That's going to put a lot of pressure on our safeties. I don't got faith in our safeties for real.
Oh, wow.
I don't. Like we had Diggs. Like Diggs was like Diggs cut one half of the field off. You know what I mean? So it made it easy.
Look, bro, you can't replace the All-Pro, Ty. That's Captain Obvious right there. Like Diggs, losing Diggs is obviously a hurt piece, but I do think we are equipped to still be a defense that's a top 5, top 3 type of defense. I don't think you lose Diggs and all of a sudden you're going to be one of the worst defenses. I think last week again was more so me about the run game and you not being able to make them one-dimensional. But I still got faith in Gilly. Yeah, I know. Here's where Gilly is, where he's probably going to struggle a lot, right? I hate to use the word a lot, but with speed. Well, you get a guy that can just run just a deep over from one side of the field to the other. That's one of the toughest routes to cover in general. And Gilly, that's not his game, right? Right. But I said this yesterday when talking about the Patriots matchup. This is the perfect game for Stephon Gilmore. They don't have those weapons out there like that. They've got a bunch of possession guys. The one dude that they do have is more of a slot guy. So I'll be shocked if Gilly doesn't bounce back in this game. I got lots of confidence for him in this game.
No, I'm not worried about the Patriots game. I think the Patriots, they're going to try to play us like they played the Dolphins in week 2. They're going to stack the box and try to double-team CD, I feel like.
Well, I'm going to tell you something right now. They ain't stacked no box against the Dolphins, bro. If you go watch that tape, my guy, I don't think I've ever seen anything like it. They will quite literally start with 3 safeties before the snap for about a good quarter of that game. They would have 5 or 6 people in the box. They didn't care about the Dolphins running. They said you're not going to throw it deep. So they ain't stacked the box. Trust me, the Miami Dolphins would have loved for them to do that.
What Munster have in that? Munster had like 15 touches for 50 yards.
Who's that?
Mostert.
Mostert?
The running back for the Dolphins?
Yeah, Mostert. Yeah,
they stopped him completely.
But they didn't stack the box is what I'm saying.
Okay.
Yeah. Miami didn't even care that they had a light box. They were just like, we're going to throw anyway because they play with a lot of that pre-snap motion, get your guys off their spots, and Tua has turned into a ridiculously quick release quarterback, and Mike McDaniels is a beast. But I think they're just going to play their game against us. Bill Belichick is one of the best week-to-week guys in the history of football. So he's going to look at us and say, how do we take away what they do best? Right now, CeeDee Lamb is our best guy, so they're going to try to take away CeeDee Lamb. And I think they're going to try to take away our run game as well. So how they do it, I don't know, but I think that's what their plan would be this week.
How much more time we got to give Dak?
I think this is the year. I think depending on how he finishes, I think that'll be the biggest one. But coming into the season, I said this is obviously the biggest pressure year for Dak Prescott. You know, if he doesn't make a deep playoff run, I think there's probably going to be questions in the front office. I don't think that is something hard to say. I think that's pretty easy to look at. I still do believe, even with the injuries, you still have a team that can compete in the NFC. So, you know, he's got to be a part of getting it done, right? Like, don't be the part of it losing. Don't be a part of the losing. Be a part of it getting it done. If he's not, I do think there will be questions. I've been adamant about that. And I think the front office will probably be trying to figure something out if it ends terribly. Now, if he goes out there and he goes on a deep playoff run and he plays well, then the conversation is a good one for him.
Okay. I was watching your post game after the the Cardinals, Joe, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you was like, why we couldn't do that last drive, why we couldn't do that in the beginning of the game.
Oh, yeah, that was annoying.
It's because Dak can't throw the ball to the left side of the field.
Huh?
Did you peep how Dak can't throw the ball left, bro? Watch this next game.
What the hell are you talking?
I promise you.
Hold on. That ain't making any sense. In the post game, what I said, why didn't we do what we did at the end of the game in the beginning? I'm talking about running. They ran the ball 5 straight times. They ran the ball 5 straight times with like 4 minutes left to go. And I said, do that at the beginning of the game so you can get closer and closer to the goal line. And now it's 3rd and goal from the 2 as opposed to 3rd and goal from the 8, from the 10. I don't know how that turned into a Dak Prescott thing.
Because Gallup got all his catches in the last drive. That's what I thought you was talking about. On the right side of the field.
No.
And not the...
No, it had nothing to do with Dak. It had nothing to do with Gallup. It was about running. It was about time management, game management, bro.
Oh, okay. My bad. My bad.
Yeah. In closing, bro. In closing.
You say encouragement?
In closing, meaning I'm not sure how new you are here, but in closing, meaning your final statement, so we can keep it moving.
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
I see what you're saying. Okay. But I ain't want nothing else, though. I just wanted to call in.
All right. Hey, look, I appreciate you because I tell a lot of people, call in. Like, because some people say things in the chat and they don't call in. So I appreciate you calling in and giving us your thoughts, man.
Yeah. And I want y'all to watch Dak next game.
Big game.
See how many passes he complete to the left side of the field. That's all I want y'all to do, fans. Chat.
Fair enough. I mean, if you look at the Jets game, had some pretty good plays over there, bro. That was just one game prior.
He's the reason Gallup looks like a scrub. Gallup is a beast.
Okay. I mean, Gallup just had 97 yards last week.
At the end of the game, all on the right side, but Gallup lines up on the left side of the field most of the game, and he get overthrown. Dak throw him that one bomb.
Dak didn't
every
overthrow
game to the left side.
Dak didn't overthrow anything last week. They barely even threw deep, bro.
Yeah, that's last week, but what about the first 2 weeks?
The week before, he completed 82% of his passes.
None to the left. I bet you all that.
He had a good handful of plays. He had a couple of his biggest plays was to the left side to CeeDee Lamb, my guy. Week 1, big play down the field to CeeDee Lamb. Week 2, big play down the field to CeeDee on the left side, by the way.
That was a catch after. That was more on CeeDee, a catch after that. There wasn't no.
No, it wasn't. There was a designed play to get CeeDee Lamb open deep, and he hit CeeDee Lamb deep. Week 2, same thing. A design play, orbit motion, pull the corner up and fit the ball in the hole so CeeDee Lamb can get the ball and run a little bit. He got that. There was another one to Jalen Tolbert. He got that. There was a touchdown pass to, who was it? Schoolmaker. He got all these are to the left side, my guy.
So you're saying all of those passes are
every single last one I just told you about.
More than 15 yards in the air.
2 of them were. The Jalen Tolbert one might have been on a precipice. It might have been like 14, 15. But for the first down.
All right.
Oh, yeah, third and 30. Shouts out to CT Madden here. 3rd and 30. You remember what 3rd and 30? You know what that mean? From last year?
The who? The what?
3rd and 30. Remember the T.Y. Hilton play?
3rd and 30 on the left. I'm reading the chat now. What did it say?
Remember 3rd and 30?
What's that? 3rd and 30.
You don't know what 3rd and 30 last year against the Eagles?
Yeah, was it a game that mattered?
Absolutely. If we lost that game, that's it. You still were playing for the division. That was a huge play. That was the fourth quarter comeback. 3rd and 30. We probably don't complete that. You probably don't win the game.
What's Dak's percentage on the left? On the ball to the left.
I can find that for you if you want. I mean, I ain't gonna do it right now on the phone because I don't want to derail the show.
Yeah.
But
I'm sorry.
Yeah, and I know my guy. Professor O probably. And look, I'm not saying I have no idea if you're right or wrong from a percentage standpoint. I'm just remembering plays off the top of my head from the left side because you said he can't throw left, and I'm thinking about all the plays that he actually completed to the left side. So I'll go look. Maybe it's a low percentage.
Them throws don't be more than 10 yards. That's what like.
Yeah, but I just told you like all of those except one were. You know what I'm saying? Also, I mean, I could keep going. I know y'all want me to hang up, but do you remember the Raiders game? How many deep passes he had to the left side with Michael Gallup in 2021? I mean, Seattle, I don't know what you're talking about. Now I think about it. Cole Beasley. What are you talking about? Wait a minute now. What do you mean by that? I'm thinking now. There's a whole lot of big plays made to that left side. Here we go.
Y'all
This is
all right.
hold on. This is why I love Professor O.
Just do me a favor. Nah. Cause I already know what's about to happen.
No. I got the numbers for you. This is why I love the bomb squad. I love the bomb squad.
All right.
Professor O, to the left side. Damn it, where'd it go? Hey, y'all killing it right now in the chat. Eric, damn, that was fast. All right, Professor O. He completed 18 of 24 to the left side, 75% completion, sir. The floor is yours.
For probably 7 yards of pass. Get the fuck. I don't mean to curse, but get out of here, bro. No, not.
All right, Ty. I appreciate you, dog. All right.
Yeah. All right.
Salute, big dog. Ty said for 7 yards. I don't know what it is. See, I'm gonna tell you something. If you're gonna jump into this arena, if you're new here, what did somebody call me? We used to have a dude in here. He used to call me. It was like a lawyer term. I know I get you. Is that really the numbers? Give me some more numbers. What's the yards per attempt? I honestly thought he was going to be a little bit more harder than that. You know, the energy in the chat didn't necessarily match it on the phone. I thought he was about to come in here and be on some, you know, everybody. Dak, we ain't, you know. That's kind of energy I was feeling because he was the same dude that was like, oh, the Cowboys is going, we ain't winning after week 4. Like, those were his words. We are not winning a game after week 4. Sheesh. I can't fan like that, man. Oh, my. C said, is it 100% though, Sky? Is it 100%? Oh, yeah, Ty, you could cuss, bro. Like, I've slipped up a bunch on here, man. You straight. But you ain't. Now, when I say you could cuss, I don't mean come on here and just be. No. That's not what I mean. But if you slip up and curse or something, fine, no big deal. But don't come on here with a sailor's mouth. Man. All right, that might not have been funny, y'all, but that was fun for me. Let's move on to my second matchup, then I'll jump back into the chat. Facts, Jose. I need that drop. You know you done fucked up, right? See, I done cussed myself, Ty. All right, here we go. Key matchup number 2. We just talked about Bill Belichick doing things to take away your best guy. And this is a matchup for me. Christian Gonzalez versus Brandon Cooks. Christian Gonzalez has had a terrific start to his rookie season. Already got a pick. You know, he's only allowing a 68 quarterback rating when he's targeted. Now, I think a lot of the scheme that they play will allow for receptions. Thus, his completion percentage when thrown to is pretty high, about 70% roughly. That's pretty high. But he's good at keeping things in front of him. He's good at minimizing yak. It's really not hurting him that you're catching passes on him. But he's playing the position at a high level for a rookie. For comparison's sake, his 70% completion rate compared to Gilmore in the first 3 games, 53%, J. Lou 40, Bland 60, right? And obviously these guys are veterans. But that just goes to show you the discrepancy. So you can catch passes on him. I think a lot of it has to do with how they play off, right? They play a lot of off coverage. But it's a matter of him not allowing you to get more yards after the catch. Now, he's given up a couple 20-plus yard receptions this year. But again, cornerbacks, that's going to happen. Nothing too crazy. But I think he does a good job at what Bill is asking him to do. Almost a prototypical guy for this scheme for Bill Belichick. Now, I know the matchup that everybody really wants to see and probably say, well, how you got Christian Gonzalez and Cooks? This should be Christian Gonzalez and CeeDee Lamb. Nah, man. Unless Christian Gonzalez just switches it up, CeeDee Lamb is going to be in the slot. He's been in the slot 75% of the time this year, 87 snaps so far, where Gonzalez has only been in there for 17 snaps. You know, he hasn't had a game over 8 snaps in the slot yet. And the season high was 8 last week. So I think the easy way to keep CD away from Christian Gonzalez, not that they're going to try to, but just by the nature of the position or of the scheme, is he's going to be in the slot. So that means you're likely going to see Gonzalez and Brandon Cooks. All right? You'll likely see some Gonzalez versus Brandon Cooks. It's been a weird start for Brandon Cooks. Not a bad one, just a weird one in my opinion. Week 1, I thought was a good first showing. He had 4 plays that were responsible for first downs. The box score is not going to show it, but he had 4. 2 of his receptions were first downs, and he drew 2 other flags for first downs. Excuse me. One of them was a 40-yard pass interference. And when you're in a downpour like that, you're not really trying to throw the ball deep. I'll take that game. Week 1, on the road in the downpour. Missed week 2, right? Didn't play, tweaked his knee a little bit. Came back week 3, and Mike admitted he took the verticality out of the playbook. And that's what Brandon's here for, right? He's here to hit these vertical plays, get some deep overs that we saw in in training camp. Or maybe some line of scrimmage things. I'm surprised we haven't seen that yet. A lot of the tunnel screens have been going to CD, rightfully so, right? Like CD is yak guy, but CD to me is like, well, it's going to sound really weird, but he like and one yak guy to me. The hell you talking about? It's a lot of it's a lot of juking. Where I think when Brandon gets those type of tunnel screens, he's so compacted and so damn fast that once he runs straight after a tunnel screen or something like that, or a short pass, it's really hard to catch up with him. So I get why some of these behind the line of scrimmage throws a CD, because you're going to have guys coming down on you, so you're trying to juke him or whatnot. But if I can get Brandon Cooks going with a quick screen or something like that, and he's just flying upfield with some blockers, he's one of the type of dudes that could take it to the crib. So I would like to see them get him more involved with his game. And this could be the first time where the conditions kind of give him that opportunity. Week 1, downpour, you're not really going crazy week 1 trying to throw the ball a whole bunch, right? Week 2, he didn't play. Week 3, Mike McCarthy admits, I got spooked having 3 offensive linemen not out there, and he essentially nerfed the playbook. Week 4, hopefully, most of the offensive line will be healthy, so we shouldn't be scared of scared of the playbook. And you're not going to be playing no downpour. You're going to be at home in a building where the Cowboys offense has played some good ball for 9 straight games. Right? They're going for 10 victories in a row at home. So Brandon Cooks has an opportunity to kind of spread his wings, I think, for the first time this season. And I think we really want to see that at some point. Like you brought him here to be a difference maker, and he saw that difference-making ability, I think, in week 1, drawing the flags and 2 big first down catches. But now we want to see the skill set that he brings and that he possesses, that he's done everywhere he's been. And that stretched the defense. Maybe that's some nines. Maybe that's some deep overs. You're not going to see a whole lot of downfield things in regards to just running straight 9 routes or deep posts, because they're going to take that away. But I still think Brandon can cook, pun intended, in kind of that deep intermediate, right? That 15 to 18 yard range, and then make some things happen afterwards. Because one of the things I did see on film is that he's still exceptional at breaking down at the second level of the defense. He's a phenomenal route runner. We just haven't been able to put it on display yet. Obviously, conditions game 1 and game 2, they were, for whatever reason, Mike got scared, but hopefully that he never does that again. Trust your guys. It's the game. It's the game that I feel like I want to see Brandon Cooks get more involved here. Even if Christian Gonzalez is on him, right? I mean, this is still a rookie, and Cooks he's a heady veteran with some skill. So I wouldn't be shook to go that way. This ain't Darrelle Revis now over there. Come on. All right, Deshaun, appreciate you for letting me get that second point out. What's up with you?
What up, Scott? Bro, what the hell? Like, Devin Harper? Really? This is what we, like, wait, are we just going to sign somebody? Like, what the hell are we doing?
Yeah, I don't know, man. Let me see in case anything popped up while we were on the show.
Oh, my God. So, all right, so hopefully, I'm hoping that we get some more depth in here because, Scott, I'm so serious. We have to, and I'm not trying to look past the people. All right, let's get this win. But we have to play next. Let's play the 49ers next. You know what 49ers love doing?
Running.
Punching people in the mouth.
Yeah.
If you think Vander is about to go in there and make a tackle on Christian McCaffrey or Deebo Samuel, you got another thing coming.
Well, let me say this. Wait. Well, let me say this. Let me say this. Because if there's one thing we can, as a fan base, have like be hopeful about, is that we did see this team shut down their running game last year in the playoffs on the road, by the way, which we're going to have to go on the road anyway. Mm-hmm. So we've seen it before. Now it's always about what have you done for me lately. So think of it this way: if this run defense goes out there on Sunday and gets gashed again, yeah, your hope and your confidence, if it's already shot, it's gone, it's dead going into that game. But if they bounce back this week, shut down that Patriots run, because they're going to run the ball. They're going to play a lot of short game. I don't think this is going to be a game where they're going to try to air it out deep a whole lot. Mac Jones has been terrible in deep passes this year for the most part. But if they go out there and they shut that down, now you have some momentum. We really want to see LVE gain some. He ain't going nowhere, right? Like, that's the thing. He's not going anywhere. We're just pointing out his play. So we need him to gain some momentum, Clark to gain some momentum, that defensive line to gain some momentum, so they can go into the 49er game saying, look, we bounce back and we know we can stop the 49ers run game because we did it in the most important game of the year last year. So I'm just trying to talk you off the ledge, bro. That's all.
And knock on wood, but Scott, you know LV got a big injury issue too. So
of course,
let's say one of our linebackers do go down, and knock on wood, like it doesn't happen next game or anything. Then what we're gonna do then? Like that's what I'm saying on the depth situation.
No, I don't disagree. I've been saying that since February, since March, whenever they decided to sign sign LVE back and not really address linebacker. I was like, hey, we kind of need some backers.
And that's pretty much all I'm saying is that linebackers are a lot more important than people think it is, because we can get all the DTs and all the defensive linemen that we can. Even if they do their job, if the linebackers don't do their job, then they're going to be gashed on, just like they did in the Cardinals game.
And let me tell you, I mean, you're absolutely right. If they don't do their jobs, sure. But sometimes when the defensive line isn't, dominating, can you make a play? That's I always bring up Sean Lee, obviously, because we're Cowboy fans, right? But that's what made Sean Lee so special to me. And shouts out to Big Game. Big Game James dropped a Sean Lee tweet like last week, and it just kind of I went down this this Sean Lee rabbit hole, man. And he was the perfect middle linebacker. Sean Lee did not need to have Haloti Naha in front of him. He didn't need to have Tony Saragusa. He didn't need it. Sean Lee was beating guys to the spot before they even thought about going there, because he was just like that. His ability to knife through and read and react, and his twitchiness, and man, he was just a perfect middle linebacker. And I know he was here with LVE, and I think, I'm starting to go down this. Bear with me, y'all. Y'all know how I get. So when LVE's rookie season, Sean Lee was here. Right? Sean Lee was here. And LVE, I think, showed a little bit more of what Sean Lee did in his rookie year, right? And he probably had Sean Lee coaching him, right? And then LVE's injuries start to pile up on him. There's no Sean Lee. Now LVE's the head honcho in that room. And guess how these linebackers are playing? Like
him. They're playing like him, Scott. Like we've seen it on tape. What they're doing is they're stopping and they're not hitting it. Like they see where they need to be at, but they're not hitting it. And like it was that one play, LVE had him. He was right there, and I don't know what he did, but he was right there. He was supposed to make that tackle, and he just whipped it, and the guy's gone. So it's like leadership is a thing. When you take control, every person that's going to come up is going to look at the leadership, regardless. It could be Dak, it could be Micah, it can be Kurt, it could be anybody. But when you take on the leadership of the role, then you have to take command of that and be able to make plays. Because if you're not being able to make these plays, Scott, everybody's going to act and show that the younger guys are going to do what you're doing. And that hurts the team so much, because now we're having to do a job for a person that we don't need to be doing a job for.
So
That just
they're going to completely disagree with our take on LVE because they love LVE in that locker room, right? Like Michael brought him up a lot. Damone Clark says I've been attached to the hip to LVE. I've been following LVE. Maybe that ain't a good thing, but I've been following LVE everywhere. I've been learning from LVE, right? And I'm not. I hate to do this. I hate to keep poo-pooing on LVE because I hope he comes out here and says I heard all this and goes berserk. So I come on here with my Tapatio and my slap your mama and eat some wonderful, delicious crow, right? Like that's what I really want. But I just think it is what it is with them, and they really appreciate his mental part of the game. They appreciate his bandwidth, how he's able to take on all these responsibilities. But my whole point is at some point, like I just want plays to be made at that second level. Like I miss plays being made at that level. Like how many plays are being made there? Not a whole lot, man. Not a whole lot. If our D-line ain't getting home, if J-Rock or Hooker or Dono ain't making the play, like these are corners, they're making the plays. I'm not seeing a lot of plays being made. And I'm not saying you got to do it all the time, right?
No.
Like he made a big play 2 years ago against the Niners, right? He made a big play against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I just need to see it periodically. And I just don't see it that much. I don't view him as a playmaking linebacker, Deshaun. So.
And I guess my last point, the two biggest things we messed up on.
In close.
Was one, I guess, in close, of course. Overtime. I wish overtime never got hurt. And
My bad, go ahead.
I know, and not getting Bobby Wagner. Dan Quinn wanted Bobby. I feel like if we could have got that veteranship, like he could have showed LV, hey, these are the certain things you do. Bro. Like, this is how you hit this is how you hit that. Because I'm be honest with you, that's what he needs. Like, you
said show LVE?
Huh?
Let me tell you something right now. If they sign Bobby Wagner, ain't no way LV's out here. I'm serious. What the hell do you what is he to be here for? I'm not putting LVE next to Bobby Wagner.
It's true, but you know how we are, those guys. Like they'll literally try to find some way, even if they did get Bobby, to try to get LV.
But an LVE would have been on the bench. And he might have been. He only getting like $3 million, so he might have been on the bench. But I gotta let you go, Deshaun.
All right, thanks, guy.
Appreciate you, man. I gotta get to our guy, man. I ain't talked to my man Landlord from Alabama. Let me before you go on, Landlord. Let me just give you your flowers, dog. Seeing your growth in this community, I am extremely proud, bro. You're killing it, man.
Man, I appreciate you, Scott, man. You know, you one of the coldest out here, too, man. Yeah, I get inspired from y'all, bro, because y'all set the bar pretty high, man. You and Vice, you know, y'all been my guys from day one, so, yeah, I appreciate that, man.
We're trying to raise the standard in this community collectively, right, so that we can continue to be, in my opinion, the best there is, the best there was, the best there ever will be in doing this. I don't think any other team is touching us. I don't even think it's close, but I digress.
It ain't close, man. It ain't close. But, you know, I had to call about my boy Devin Harper, man. Good Lord. That sucks, man. That sucks. Like, Scott, I think, okay, at what point are we going to start questioning the linebacking coach? Do he know what he's saying? Because, look, we was just heartbroken about Story Jackson a year or so ago. We was just heartbroken about these other linebackers. Then the ones they choose to keep, they ain't up to par. They actually going to sign LVE again? You know what I'm saying? And you going to let Devin Harper go? I've been waiting on Devin Harper to get some opportunities. This man ain't even had no opportunities.
Yeah, Landlord, I think it's fair to, like, this again, we always talk about what is. Always talk about what is. And I think it's fair to say, hey, we've been fantastic drafting this, drafting that, hitting that safety, hitting that corner, hitting that D-line, hitting that edge, tackle. You can fairly criticize the linebacker situations since 2020.
But right? Curly, and do you think there's some nepotism that's biting us in the behind? Because that's Mike McCarthy guy.
Well,
you know what I'm saying?
What's the name was here last year, too? You know, George Edwards. You know, George was here, and George is a fantastic linebacker coach. But I think George trusted veterans more than the young guys, right? It was Anthony Barr, it was LVE. These are the guys getting most of the tick until Damone Clark, you know, kind of came along. And even when Damone Clark came along, and both LVE and Barr were healthy, he wasn't out there. You know, it was all about Barr and LVE. So we never really got a chance to develop these young guys. To kind of
maybe Overshawn was the plan. Maybe Overshawn was the plan.
Overshawn would have destroyed all this just because he just by sheer will and ability. And I remember, if you remember earlier in the draft process or after the draft process, one of the things I said about Overshawn when studying him was that, look, man, this dude can do things at all three levels. I have no idea where they're going to put him, but I feel like he's going to figure that thing out. And he figured it out way faster than I expected. And I think he would have just, because of his sheer ability, would have made Scott McCurley look good. But I think you're onto something with the linebacker situation, whether it be McCurley, Dan Quinn, whatever. It's just kind of there. You know what I'm saying? They just there.
Yeah. I got a chance to meet Overshawn brother at training camp, man. But strangely enough, he's an Eagle fan, but he's an Eagle fan. But talking crap the whole time. But we had a lot of high hopes for Overshawn, man. When he was out there at training camp, he was balling out the whole time, man. That particular day I'm talking about was the day he got his hands on the ball 2 times, like back to back. So, everybody had high hopes for Overshawn. So that might have been the plan. Overshawn might have been the plan at linebacker.
He would have played himself onto that field, man. Had a chance to briefly speak with him when I met him at the Omni. Just happened to be walking by, and I think he was waiting for somebody. And I was also waiting for somebody. And we got to chatting, and you can just tell he was gutted that he knew he was going to make an impact on this team. But then right after he got over being gutted, he was like, it's all right. This is just part of my story. You know what I mean? Small setback for a big comeback. And like immediately you just felt this energy from him that, dog, if he happened to be out there this week. He was leading the huddle in preseason. Remember that? He was leading the huddle of the team in There's just something about the kid that I think gravitates a team towards him. And yeah, he would have, I think he would have been very impactful on his team. He was already carving out a role. And I think he was far exceeding expectations earlier in training camp than anyone could imagine.
So I think it is fair to give them just a small, eyedropper full of grace when it comes to that. Fair because enough. They did draft Overshawn, and that's who we wanted to play. But I will say this. McCurley, I got my eye on you, with the monocle emoji dude. I got my eye on him. And then is this fair to say Will McClay just got some things he don't do well too? We know he the GOAT with it, but it seems like he can't drop a defensive tackle. It seems like he's not that great at that. And then it seems like he can't do linebackers either. So what's going on with Will McClay, man?
Landlord, we out on Mozzie already, landlord.
No, not on Mozzie, but I'm just saying before Mozzie, think about it. Tristan Hill and all of them other guys.
Landlord, slow down now. Slow down, bro. How you feel about old Sir Diggy Zua?
Oh, also a monster, man. Also my guy.
There we go.
Yeah, also my guy.
There you go. Hold up. Also Diggy Zua, Mozzie Smith. I think we might be turning the page here. I do not believe. Hold up. I do not believe Tristan Hill was Mike was Will McClay's guy. That was Rod Marinelli. No, seriously, bro. Go back and if you can go back, remember in 2019, I think it was 2019. Go back. Rod Marinelli visited Tristan Hill. He worked him out. It was no secret how much he loved Tristan Hill, right? He's in the room. These are the times where, these coordinators get a lot of say. He's in the room. It came down to him and some safeties and whatnot. Rob Marinelli pounding the table for Tristan Hill. So I'm not putting that on Will McClay. I think that's just Will McClay says, here's my board. Here's my guy. I don't pick the players. Y'all pick the players. I give you the pick of the
that's when the politics get involved. Because he didn't want Taco either. They said he wanted TJ Watt. So it is what it is. He's not perfect, but Will McClay is a monster with this, man, because, I can't get mad at him missing anything. Really.
I'll give you linebackers because we're still kind of waiting for, we got one of them we got a dude at each level, I think. You know what I'm saying? That was drafted or signed because Will McClay is also the pro personnel president or vice president. So, we signed some dudes for the low. We've drafted some dudes, but we haven't really hit really on that dude just yet at linebacker. Just yet. Still got time. Well, Clark is young.
We drafted LVE first round, bro.
Yeah. And it worked out at first.
For year one, it worked out. Because I was eating crow. I was gladly eating crow year one because I wasn't happy about the pick.
No, I wanted Derwin. I wanted Derwin James or DJ Moore at that time, but
it is what it is. I know you got other people to talk to, man, but I had to chop in with you this morning, man. I won't be able to have a show today. I got a funeral to go to.
Oof,
lost one of my close friends. So,
sorry to hear that, bro. Praise up for landlord, y'all.
Yeah, I appreciate y'all, though, man. Hey, man, we need to go make this statement, though. We got to right our wrongs this Sunday against the GOAT, Bill Belichick. So, hey, I hope they ain't sleep on this one.
They better be woke now. Shit. They got one of those ass whoopers. You know, when you sleep, you try to pretend you sleep. You know, you got sent home. Your mama know when you come home, you get that ass whoop, but you try to pretend like you sleep. And then that belt come across that ass, and you wake up screaming like you think you're in them. That's what happened to the Cowboys last week against the Cardinals. They thought they could sleep their way through that ass whoop. It didn't happen. Yeah.
Facts. A wake-up ass whoop.
Yeah, wake up.
But I appreciate you, though, Sky, man.
Yep, praise up, man. I hope you get through the funeral. Funerals are just they suck, man. So I hope you're able to get through that with some peace, and we'll see you back on the streams.
Already, man. Y'all hold it down, man.
Salute. Our guy, Landlord from Alabama. Make sure y'all follow him on all platforms and definitely here on YouTube. Constantly breaking it down. I think I just had a flashback talking about that, like vividly. I remember me and my brother in the bunk bed. That's the door. Go sleep. That ain't gonna work. Get your ass up. Oh, man. Yeah, good conversation. Good conversation there with Landlord. Yeah, you're not going to be perfect, though. Like, one thing I ain't going to do is criticize the Cowboys drafting. Not doing it. Not saying that's what Landlord was doing. But if there was one thing to say, hey, man, we ain't get a dude just yet. And I know Mel said, hey, we drafted Mike. You fall into Micah, bro. Yeah. I don't necessarily talk about first round, I ain't gonna be honest with you. Because you fall into Micah, that's just perfect. It's hard to mess that up. But in general, like third rounder, we're hitting on those. You know what I'm saying? On a ghosting. We're hitting pro personnel department. We're getting kind of these guys at the bottom of the barrel that are now, big part of your team. Fourth round, we know what happened in the fourth round back in 2016 and things like we've gotten big contributors in those real parts of the draft. First round, we know them dudes is. Not many people do first round of the Cowboys. That's all I'm saying. All right, he talked about Bill Belichick. Let's talk about McCorkle. I mean, not McCorkle, but the players that McCorkle is going to be throwing to. And that's my last key matchup to this game. The Patriots tight ends versus, and I have J-Ron here, but I got a thought that I want to talk to y'all about too, but versus J-Ron Curse. Now you can say J-Ron, you can say LVE, you can say Clark, all the linebackers, whatever. But we know J-Ron is the tight end eraser. And Cowboys have been erasing tight ends for the most part. They've been really good this year against tight ends. They're top 10 in yards per reception by tight ends. They're 11th in yards per game. You might say, well, 11, Scott, that's not that great. Well, 37 yards. They're allowing 37 yards per game to tight ends. And they haven't allowed a tight end yet. But this is their biggest test. This I think is their biggest test. Not because individually these guys are Kelsey or whatnot. They've dealt with a high-end individual talent, from a skill standpoint with Waller. They've dealt with that, and we've seen them play well. But the problem is, in Hunter Henry and Gesicki, that's about as good as it's going to get for a two tight end package. It is going to be really hard to go around the league and find a two tight end package that has these type of guys. And now you might say, well, Kelsey and whoever because it's Kelsey, or Kittle and whoever because it's Kittle. Fair. But when it comes to that second tight end, I think Gesicki and Henry are really good. And last week they started to roll out Pharaoh Brown. Pharaoh Brown, 6'6", about 250, probably a more athletic guy, although Gesicki's super underrated. Athletic guy. He caught that pop pass from Mac Jones. Y'all remember that? McCorkle play action, I think it was, or just popped up through it to Pharaoh, and he took off for like 60 yards or whatever it was for the touchdown. So, that's something obviously you got to watch for. But I think the 12 personnel package, they like to do a lot of different things out of it. I personally welcome them trying to run out of it because things are more congested. However, they have found a little bit of success in this 13 personnel package. They've been able to run a little bit more. They've been doing a lot of tosses. They're getting their guys to the edge. So not only are like J-Ron and these safeties going to have to do well against these tight ends in the passing game, they're going to have to maintain the edges, right? Contain the edges. Do not allow, Stevenson and Zeke to just run untouched for 10 yards. That's how they got a lot of their yards against the Jets. They were just untouched, whether it be a delay up the middle or whether it be tossed to the outside. If they go untouched, these guys are big, right? They're powerful. They play downhill. But if you have to make them get shifty, Stevenson can get a little shifty, more shiftier, but you kind of minimize his ability to maybe pop one. They haven't had a run over 20 yards all year. So, they're going to play a 10-yard within game. And when it comes to these tight ends, McCorkle loves to go to these tight ends. And I get it because their wide receivers aren't spectacular. They're not guys that are getting a bunch of separation. And then he's not hitting these wide receivers downfield. But Mac Jones still can deliver the ball, especially intermediate to these tight ends. So I think this is a huge matchup. This could be the matchup that really can turn this game from being a dominant performance defensively, in my opinion, to the Patriots getting some things going and maintaining some positive play offensively. Because I have a con. I know a lot of people are a little bit scared because Ezekiel Elliott is coming in town. Oh, they're going to feed Zeke. The Cowboys just got ran on last week. I just think styles make fights, and their style, while I didn't think, talking about the Cardinals, I didn't think they'd be able to overcome our talent. I think their style was obviously one of the styles we've struggled with since Dan Quinn has been here. This one, not so much. Their offensive line, they're trying to beat you. They're trying to put a hat on a hat and just beat you. And we got dudes that beat you up. They do some trap things. They're not the greatest at it, but they're going to try it a few times. Most of their success is coming on the outside or coming from their running backs pressing the line of scrimmage. There's no containment on the edge, and I've seen Stevenson do it, and I've seen Zeke do it, and then they'll bounce it. And now we're getting 8 yards, right? Now we're getting 10 yards. So their style matches up what Dallas does, I think, wonderfully. Now, this is Bill. Bill can, who knows? We seen, Houston roll out 2 quarterbacks. Bill might say, Zappy, get in there. We're going to run a read option, and you're going to take off, right? That's possible. But McCorkle, he's not doing any of that. Like, if you want to talk about a game where you might see Micah screaming off the edge a little bit and we might get a little frustrated, I understand. I understand because he's not running. Mac Jones not running. But I like the matchup from a running game standpoint in this game. But are you going to be able to contain these tight ends from getting first downs and keeping the chains moving? Because even if they're in 2nd and 7, and now they're completing a 5 to 6 yard pass at a tight end. Now we're in 3rd and short. So I feel like the tight ends are more dangerous in this game. And then, once you get into 3rd and short or what have you, then you got to man up and stop them in the short ground game. But big matchup to me. J-Ron Curse versus these tight ends in both the run game and the pass game. And here was a thought that I was having. We had this discussion with Koye, and then after he dropped his video, he his name popped up again, and I was just like, man, how I feel about Wanye from a cover standpoint, but just in general. But I think, man, Wanye has the ability to progress into a really good cover safety. He's physical too, but I'm just talking about, who could be that next guy to be our cover guy. We ain't have a whole bunch of them, and I just think back to week 1, he was making plays in the pass game. He flies around, he's fast, he's aggressive. And I'm like, could this be a game where we play a little matchup? Now, we had a conversation about Okoye brought it up. Hey, I want to bring Wanye in over Bell. I didn't realize Wanye was that big, and I'm like, oh, 6'3", 220. Hey, let's see what's up. But in all seriousness, against these tight ends, right? I think Wanye would be a perfect little wild card to throw in here for two reasons. One, like while Henry and Gesicki are tight ends and they got to do blocking duties, that ain't really what they want to do. Like that's not something that they are thriving in. So I'm not too concerned about our physical safeties just getting mauled by him, right? So if Bell has to play up against them in the run game, if Wanye has to deal with some things with them in the run game, I think they can find their way around it. But I think from a cover standpoint, I think Wanye could cover these guys pretty damn good. Just thinking out loud, man. Just thinking out loud on how, again, it's 2 weeks in a row now. We talk about finding ways to get Wanye on. I don't have the answer, Sway. I don't know how they're going to do it or if they even are, but this could be a game where you can mess with some things. Now, don't get too crazy because it's Bill, and Bill he'll get you. But I don't fear their receivers. I don't think Dan Quinn will. That doesn't mean I don't want to see Dan Quinn switch it up a little bit. Could this be the game? Probably won't be, because these receivers. This is the perfect game to run the way that we run man defense, cover one, pressing and all that. It's a good game to do it because those wide receivers aren't going to threaten you deep. So if you look at the Arizona Cardinals game, there was obviously a real life respect for Hollywood Brown and Rondale Moore speed, which obviously, right? So they were playing a lot off the ball or off the line of scrimmage. I think you might see them go from being 10 yards off to 5, or if not pressing these guys at the line of scrimmage and making Mac Jones have to fit the ball deep down the field in tight spaces, and he hasn't done that yet. He hasn't. So maybe this ain't the week to do it. Next week might be the week. But I would like to see some type of, I don't want to overreact. Mike overreacted. But maybe some adaptation, right? Like adapt to what happened to you last week. Adapt to the matchup. That's all I'm saying. All right. I'm with you, Professor O. I'm with you. They don't have a lot of speed out there. Bourne. It's funny though, because Bourne caught that pass on us deep 2021. Bad read though by the safety and the cornerback. Just weren't on the same page. Was it Bourne, Juju? Their dynamo was the Douglas kid. We talked about him yesterday. 5'8" kid. He's got about 12 targets this year. 7 of them either have come deep. He's got 4 passes deep, and he's got 3 receptions behind the line of scrimmage. So over half of his receptions are one thing. You're just running downfield, throwing deep, or we're getting you the ball right now at the line of scrimmage. He's their dynamo guy. So if anything, right, if Bill wanted to look at what Arizona did, maybe I don't know if they have packages where he's in the backfield, but they don't have that explosiveness in the backfield. Stevenson and Zeke aren't giving you that. Hence, no runs over 20 yards. But that Douglas kid could possibly give you that. But I don't know if he has the ability to be a running back. Maybe these are things you just get it to him right now. My God, it's Jason Bourne. All right, we do got Twan on the horn, and we'll get some super chats and wrap this thing up for a Friday show. What's good, Twan?
God, what's good, baby? Hey,
yo,
that was me that hit you up yesterday on Twitter too. That said we need to play like Detroit.
Oh, okay. Oh, I know that was you, bro. We've been kind of chatting on Twitter for a couple years now. I know that was you, man. Salute. Yeah. Yeah. So like I said on Twitter, we'll definitely be bringing up Detroit later on in the season, and you know, like I told you on there, I'm a fan of Ben Johnson. I think his scheme is really damn good, but.
Scott, I'm gonna be all the way honest with you, bro. I came home from work. I caught the second quarter to the end of the game, and I was getting blazed. And I said, why can't Dallas play exactly like this?
In what way?
In the way they use their tight ends, their personnel, Amon-Ra St. Brown. Like, we have a better personnel, and I feel like we can play exactly like them.
Well,
am I wrong when I say that?
Well, Twan, you're wrong in the sense of we run a West Coast offense. So,
okay, but like I said, we can't mix something in there with that.
Sure, you can, but you have to make sure it's built off because that's the big thing about this offense, and I don't even think we're not even close to the tip of the iceberg with this team from the offense. But these things have to make sense within the offense, right? I'm all about copying plays and stealing it, but obviously, what is your identity? We don't want to turn into what we were with Kellen, where we just got a bunch of plays, but we have no identity. We don't know when to run them, and we don't know how to run them, and it'd be good in situations. So, the reason why we don't look like Detroit is because we don't got Ben Johnson. We don't run that kind of it's kind of like a gumbo of offenses. He's kind of been everywhere in this league, where we run a West Coast.
And that's what I'm saying. I felt like I seen everything in it. But I felt like you are right. We do run a West Coast offense, but I feel like, man, we need to throw some of that stuff in there, or I'm just being impatient because we didn't see it unfold.
I think there's a little bit of impatience in all of us, and it's kind of a lot of it has been out of our hands. I say our hands, I mean Dallas's hands for the most part. Week 1, you're not about to sit, and I thought there was a lot of good things, by the way, on tape in Week 1, but you couldn't really push the meter too much because of the downpour, right? Week 2, I thought it was a good plan. They had a fantastic game plan. It worked. You racked up over 300 something, almost 400 yards. You scored 30 points. You had some big plays pop off in the run and pass game against a top 5 defense. I don't think there was too much to complain there. And then Week 3 happened, right? And coach nerfs the playbook. We lose the game. We don't convert in the red zone because I feel like if we convert in the red zone, we're not really having too many discussions about the playbook in general. But we didn't convert. So now it's like, well, what happened to the pop shots? What happened to the vertical shots? It's because I nerfed it. Now we're a little nervous. And I get it, man. As fans, we naturally kind of overreact initially. But that's why I try to, all right, let's get it through. Let's talk it through. Let's figure it out. And let's see what happens next week and breathe. Because we're in Week 4. And there was this tweet I saw yesterday, not even a tweet, it was on Instagram. It was a fantastic tweet. He said, at this exact moment last year, the Broncos were 2-1. The Chiefs lost to the Colts, who ended up being like a top 5 team or something like that in the draft. The Niners were 1-3. So like at this point last year, teams weren't who they ended up finished being, right? And I don't think the Cowboys are a finished product either. I refuse to overreact to in Week 3. I just refuse. I'd rather get these little kinks out now so that we're humming later, because I don't want to start talking about things being weird in Week 16, bro.
Yeah, I agree with that. I agree with that as well. Honestly, the last time we played Bill Belichick, and Bill Belichick just had a press conference where he basically broke down our whole team. That was crazy.
Yeah, that was wild.
But Dak had 3 touchdowns, a passer rating of like 108, and
he broke the record. He broke the record on Bill Belichick. Nobody has thrown for more passing yards against him at that point in time. I don't know if it's been broken since, but at that point in time,
wow. See, I didn't know that.
Dak threw for the most yards against Bill. Yeah.
Man, let's do it. Let's do it again, Sky, and let's beat these boys by 10. Good call.
All right, Brody. Peace. If I remember correctly, in that game, J.C. Jackson was there, Mills was there. I'm thinking about the film. I felt like they played a lot more man in that game. I could be wrong. I'm thinking about the last drive. There's a lot of man in that drive, but it felt like they were playing a lot of man. I don't see them doing a whole lot of man things here. Very strange. Like, they are a zone defense in a way. They like to play 2 safeties back. Let me say that, because it's not always everybody just dropping in zone. They like to keep 2 safeties over the top. But they blitz a lot, too. Like, they're top 5 in blitz percentage. So that means the middle of the field is going to be open for the most part. You are playing some man somewhere. And I feel like we got to take advantage of that. Dak does well against the blitz. We understand that. Arizona, not a big blitz team. The Jets, not a big blitz team. Giants are, but they didn't do their normal version of the blitzing. But Arizona was just like, hey, we're going to play back all game and then just time the blitz. Bill's known to switch some things up. Maybe he switches it up. We'll see. Oh, I love Kyle Duggar. You do gotta be careful. That's why you just can't go willy nilly and just throwing deep balls. Like Julius Peppers and Kyle Duggar will be sitting on that for sure. So I like to see some deep overs. I think the slant game is going to be there because I know it's going to sound crazy, y'all, but the comebacks are going to be there because they play so far off. The minute they try to play press, I mean, we do eventually have to threaten them vertically in the middle of the field. We haven't really done that yet. Shouts out to Patrick No C Walker, y'all. He dropped a fantastic article in the science lab where I didn't even notice that, but technically we've actually thrown more deep pass attempts this year than we did in previous years in the first 3 games of the year. Not by much. It's like 2.3 versus 2 or something weird like that. The difference is the ability to connect in the middle of the field. We haven't quite seen that open up just yet in regards to like the seam route or in regards to the tight ends going up. We haven't played that game yet. I think we're still, and we said this in the offseason, don't expect the Texas Coast offense to be full throttle by week 4. There's going to be some growing pains, and we saw it last week. So, all right, Bengals. That was the other one. It was another team, Mel, that Instagram post. The Bengals were avoiding 0-3, trying to avoid 0-3 at this point in time. So a lot of things can change. And again, the Cowboys are 2-1. You know, we want to continue that. We don't want to just be one off, but we want to continue the momentum of building towards January. All right, super chats. Here we go. John, not Michael Phelps.
Super chat.
He dropped 10. He said, if we're going to roll with our safeties filling in that linebacker, then we have to also give Mozzie and Hankins more snaps together at defensive tackle to eat up more blockers to help our linebackers clean. I mean, that is a fair assessment, John. However, be careful. Be careful. This is the second time I've seen a fan kind of just be like, hey, we got to take off Osa. Careful. Osa Odighizuwa has been a problem. Not a bad one, by the way. A good one. He's been good in the run game, too. So, you know, I do want to see more Mozzie and Hankins at certain times, right? But if it means I got to take Osa off the field, right now I ain't willing to do it too much. If Osa needs to get a rest, or if they want to run kind of this big front where they go Osa and D-Law, and then these two guys in the middle, maybe 1st and 10 backed up or something like that, 2nd and short, 3rd and short is fine. But I'll just say be careful about how much you want to take him off the field because he is an absolute menace right now for opposing teams. In fact, when you go and watch the Chargers game, the Cardinals game, again, this was more so about, for whatever reason, we're penetrating one gaps and we're opening up these lanes for these running backs and for these guards or tackles to swing, and we're just inviting these runs. And a couple of them, if you're a linebacker, you know, has a little bit of some instinct, maybe they don't go as far. I'm just saying, be careful trying to get those off. But I'm all about Mozzie and Hankins doing some things in the run game.
Super chat.
Black Lion dropped 5. He said, Pat's front 7 is good, secondary average, except Gonzalez, who has elite traits. Get CD or Cooks match up against Jalen Mills. Does Mills even play that much, though? Overshown is missed. I mean, Duggar and Julius Peppers, I think they're playing above average ball. I think that's a bit of a miscalculation there. I think they're playing above average ball. So when you got 3 guys in that secondary who are above average, I'd consider that an above average secondary. I think they have a solid secondary with Gonzalez playing well and their 2 safeties. Marcus Jones is out. He's one of their dynamic slot guys, so they hurt there. When healthy, though, it's pretty solid secondary. I would get CD matched up in the slot. And like we said, you know, Cooks versus Gonzo is going to be a thing. I mean, you're going to have to win. Christian Gonzalez is still a rookie at the end of the day. He's going to have to win. Overshown is missed. Yes, without a doubt.
Super chat.
Then Jordan Smith dropped 2. Appreciate you. Says, Sky, why the radio show coming for Dak's neck? What the? Does that surprise you? Let's have this conversation with Vach. I'm not going to put it all out here, but we're having a conversation with Vach the other day. That's their shtick. That's their thing. I'm not going to say too much about it, but that's their thing. It works for them. It's likely going to generate what you just did here, right? Buzz, and we make these takes and we get them out there on the social medias and we get the clicks and we get and they probably feel that way, and that's fine. I mean, you're not supposed to be a homer, right? You're not supposed to be a homer, but there are a handful of people on that station that clearly are not. I'm not saying they got to be fans of the team, right? I'm not saying that. But there's obviously an agenda. Obviously an agenda here, and they play to it, and hey, there's really no different than what you see on these national shows. It really isn't. They try to pretend that it's not, but it really is. It's no different. Or they try to pretend that it is, but it's no difference. But Mike Bassick, notorious. Gavin, notorious. These guys are, that is what it is, bro. Let me refresh this. All right, that's it. Cool. And we got through this. I thought this would be a lot shorter. Good calls today, and good super chats. And I hope these matchups, we win them. Let's repeat them here. Let's go over them. Terence Steele versus Matt Judon. Big time matchup. This is the second time these guys will be seeing each other. Matt Judon already has 4 sacks on the season, and Terence has 4 penalties. He's got to clean that up, but he did get back to his regular self in that Cardinals game. So this is a big one for me. If Dallas wins and contains Matt Judon, I think you're able to get some of those intermediate deep shots downfield and have some success in the passing game. Run game wise, if our O-line is healthy, I do think that we can run the ball. Gonzalez versus Brandon Cooks. We talked about this. A lot of people want CeeDee Lamb against him. Likely not going to see that a whole lot unless Gonzalez travels in the slot. He hasn't done that. Lamb has been in the slot 75% of the time. Thus, you'll probably see him on Cooks. If not, if they put the other cat on Cooks, that's where I'm going. And then finally, J-Ron Curse versus these Patriots tight ends. I have both tight ends because they probably have one of the better 2 tight end sets in this league with Hunter Henry and Mike Gesicki. Both of these guys can get open and secure the ball for you. And honestly, they probably should have put J-Ron and the gang, because who's covering the other guy? This is why I'm saying possibly let's see what's up with old boy Wanye Thomas. Wanye Thomas would be, I think, a good time to throw a wild card in here, something that maybe Bill Belichick doesn't have on tape, because he's going to throw some things at you. So those are my 3 key matchups to this game, and let's hope the Cowboys get out of here with a victory. Now, Sunday, we'll be back live. We are still remote. We're still here, not at a place yet. Once we have a place for Game Day Live, I will let you guys know for sure. But for the time being, swing back through Sunday morning. We have our Sunday, Sunday afternoon, we'll have the pregame show. Me and Jesse Halley, halftime, post-game show. Make sure y'all keep it locked. We'll be giving y'all all of the objective coverage that we can on game day. All right? On your way out, no show today for Mo. Obviously, no show for Vach. We don't do Fridays. But on your way out, do me a favor. If you're new here and you did enjoy what you've seen, what you have saw, hit the like button. If you want to be a part of the Bomb Squad, subscribe. Whether we agree or disagree or indifferent, I think it's important to be a part of things like this because we're going to have the real life conversations about it. It's not going to be hot take media, click take media, shock jock radio, any of that stuff. We're going to either bring the film to it, bring the numbers to it. Everything is about my eyes. Well, that's why we watch film. We'll talk about it, right? We'll talk about it from top to bottom and try to figure it out. We have the ability to do that because we don't have to acquiesce to the Chargers or to the Niners or to the focus on the boys. So if you dig that type of content, this is where you want to be. So right now, Shorty said you're no longer on Facebook. No, Right now, we are not streaming the show via Facebook. We're dealing with some Facebook issues over there. Quite frankly, look, Facebook, I appreciate y'all. I truly, but Facebook is a mess to me. To me, it's a necessary evil for other things for the company, but for the coverage, for the broadcast, I can care less about it. And it's not the people on Facebook. It's the people running Facebook. Facebook is just, it's awful. You know, it's awful. But I get it's a necessary evil. So until we're able to get back running on Facebook, come on over here on YouTube. We're working right now to actually get the show broadcast on our website. And me personally, I've been trying to hammer this home for A to Z. We need to get a goddamn app. I know that stuff probably costs money, but if we can get an app, man, it's a wrap. Like, that's what you need. You need to get app. You need to get app. Put it on your phone and roll. But all that stuff is working out, man. We're working on it all, man. Thank you guys for being here. It was a really good show today. Y'all, I'm gonna be honest, y'all brought me up this morning. And I say that to y'all all the time. There's times where I'm like, I know what I got to do and I love what I do, but there's days, right? There's some days where you're just not all the way there. But man, as soon as I hit that button, 3, 2, 1, and I get to rapping to you guys, it just brings me to another level, and I forget everything crazy that might be happening outside of this camera. So I really do appreciate you guys from the bottom of my heart. I'm gonna go ahead and hit that button now.
Push the goddamn button.
All right.
Push the goddamn button.
Press the button, goddamn. Brother L, let me know, man, because I've been trying to push this to them for the last 2 years. Get an app. Get a app. As my guy L would say, drink some more water. Take care of your mentals, man. We out of here. Love you, Bomb Squad. Peace.